Inside Maumee Athletics podcast, where we bring you the pulse of the Panthers' athletic scenes.
Welcome back to this edition of Inside Maumee Athletics. Man, it has been quite a while since I've been able to say that. I don't know if you noticed or not, but it's been quite a while since I put together one of these podcasts. Yeah, I did take a break from the website. I did take a break from the reporting, did take a break from the podcast. And as I was getting ready to record this and to release it, I've been trying to figure out what's the best thing to say. How do I introduce this podcast? And I think the best way to do it right now is just to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for your patience. I needed to take some time away. It got to be quite a bit. And I got away from the one thing that this should be. It should be fun. It should be fun telling stories. It should be fun getting to know people. It should be fun interviewing people and hearing what they have to say about their sports, about their teams, about their lives. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to get back to basics. We're just going to talk to people. We're going to shed a light on what's going on in Maumee. We're going to tell the great stories of what's going on in Maumee. Our boys basketball team, as I'm recording this early this week, they're 12-7 overall and 7-4 in the league, which is an incredible season. Just last week, they had wins over Eastwood and Oak Harbor. That makes them 7-3 since everybody came back to school after the holidays. Tonight, as I'm recording this, they're playing at Fostoria. Friday, they closed their home season against first place Genoa. And then next Friday, the 20th, they play at Lake. The tournament draw is on Sunday, February the 15th. Right now in the RPI rankings, they're ranked 6 out of 12 teams, and their district is pretty stacked with teams like Rogers, Southview, and Lima Shawnee. Based upon what we've seen from the Panthers this year, I'm really excited to see what this team can do in the postseason. Your girls basketball team is now 13-8 overall, 7-4 in the league after losing a really tough game to Genoa on Monday night. That breaks a 2-game winning streak over Toledo Christian and a big win at Eastwood last week. Since Christmas, since everybody got their visit from Santa, the Panthers are 10-3, which is an incredible run right now for Brad Curon and his team. They close out the season at Lake on Thursday night. And then on the 19th, so next week, they play at Salina in a Division III sectional championship. And as the RPI is right now, they are 1/1000th of a point behind Salina. Salina's the 1 seed, Maumee's the 2 seed. So let's get down to Mercer County. Let's make that trip down there. Let's get loud for these Panthers. Let's support them. That should be an incredible game down there. Your Maumee dance team last weekend competed at the OASSA state competition in Vandalia, and they brought home some hardware. Top 5 in contemporary, top 10 in small palm, and they were the OASSA Community Service Team of the Year. So that's a big congratulations to your Panthers dance team. Now it's time to bring on my guest this week. Pete Schlegel is a 2009 Maumee graduate, and while he was here, he had quite the wrestling career. 3-time NLL individual champ, the team won a couple NLL titles as well, and he's got the Panthers looking for some of that past glory. Here's my conversation with Pete Schlegel. I want to talk about, first off, your experience in your first year as a head coach. Now, I know you've had some assistant coaching experience before, specifically last year with the program. And I think you kind of knew last year that this was what was going to be happening. You were going to be transitioning into the head coaching role. But I guess just talk about that transition, talk about taking over the program, and just kind of what you found with this program so far.
Well, thank you for having me to start. To answer your question, sure, I knew we were going to head into this direction, and I kind of already had a game plan on kind of what I thought, the program's philosophy should be and how it should operate. And then looking at the transition, it was really, as far as just kind of behind the scenes, real seamless. Everybody was helpful and kind of just guiding me. There's a lot of questions to ask, on the logistical side of things. Put the program on the side. How are kids getting to tournaments and where are we going, and what does our current schedule look like, and why does it look that way? And what are other events that are around that we could maybe supplement or replace? Or so that started to kind of happen. I'll be completely honest, right? Maybe the first week of the season, you're really just gearing up and kind of in the off season is when I took over. So yeah, I was really just like, okay, let me focus on philosophy first. Let me let the kids know that something new is happening here.
Right.
So let's do all these things that kind of structure around the new, and then I'll worry about the logistics. And so maybe what I learned is that maybe I could have flopped that, and I could have figure out those things first, and then honed in on my philosophy. But regardless of how it got handled, I think everything is just fine. I don't think I would do it a different way, honestly. I think the kids really needed the new and to know new was happening quickly.
Right.
And that was my main focus. So yeah, that's kind of how I did things.
Okay. You talked about the program philosophy. Can you let us in and let us know maybe what the new philosophy is, or what the philosophy for the program is?
Sure. It's really, I think the mindset of wrestling got away, at least in our program. And that happens. That's almost like a natural thing.
Okay.
To where even if you have the same coach for many, many years and the philosophy never changes, staying true to it and staying true to form, I think happens over time. So what I came in and I'm a Maumee guy, so I was coached by Maumee guys. I trained in that room, and what came from that was a new level of respect for the sport, a new level of respect for that room specifically. So the philosophy really is just, it's really tailored around visualizing and believing. Visualizing and believing, meaning that's really what wrestling is. It's finding belief in yourself that there's more in the tank, that there's more that you can provide, there's more that you can give, especially when you think maybe it's time I should give up, or I'm at my limit. I think I'm spent.
Yeah.
No, just believing in the process, believing in our training, believing in how we prepare. If you believe that, and then truly visualizing your goals, and this goes beyond the mat, in the classroom or later in life, really visualizing, I really want that promotion, or hey, I really want to win that match, or I want to be at the top of the podium at that tournament. If you can visualize that and truly see it and truly believe that it's going to happen, training just comes.
Right.
If you are on a mission and really have true belief in what that goal is, the training will come.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's our philosophy.
Finding schedules that don't work, all that sort of stuff. Can you talk about some of the changes maybe to the schedule this year, some of the events that you guys went to that maybe were a little bit new? I know there was a couple that were different.
Yeah, we only made a couple of changes, and that was really just tailored around skill set, just where we are as a program right now.
Okay.
There were a couple of events that I just thought, probably with the skill set that we have right now is maybe too high of a caliber of a tournament. So just made a couple of changes there. But I think that's a real important piece of running the program is really, hey, where are we at, personnel wise? Where are we at lineup wise? And where does it make sense to go and compete? Should we just go and compete somewhere where we can get good quality matches and just get mat time because we're inexperienced? Or should we go and really test where we are individually and as a team at these tougher tournaments to kind of prep us for the competition we're going to see down in Columbus, down at the state tournament level? So it's that constant ebb and flow of, all right, where are we at, and where are we at skill wise and talent wise, and what makes sense for us. So just minor changes. We got out of a couple of tournaments, got into some tournaments that were, I think, more our speed.
Right.
And again, just giving us mat time. I preach to the kids almost every day. It's mat time. It's mat. How do you get good at wrestling? You wrestle.
Yeah.
And so, let's just get on the mat. Let's get on the mat. Who cares who is across from us? Let's just get on the mat. Let's perfect, what we're doing.
Unlike a lot of other sports, even some of the individual sports, I know wrestling's a team sport, but you're out there competing as an individual in your match. And you think about other sports like, tennis is the same way, golf is the same way, but really wrestling's unique in that, like, you're out there and everybody is watching you. Can you talk about the confidence that has to grow in guys to be able to do that? Because that's not something a lot of people can do. And I think a lot of people, they either shine in that or they maybe have to work up to that.
Sure. It's, I tell the kids all the time, that's, one of the things that we preach in the room is we are uncommon, meaning, there may be, a couple hundred kids that go to our school, but I only have 15 guys on my team. Yeah. So right there, we are already defined as uncommon individuals. Now, inside of that, now we have to kind of pull out, and it's really, as a coach, you're just trying to pull out, that guy's potential. You're looking at his potential and you're trying to yank it out of him.
Sure.
Right. Because I can see from the corner something that a guy is really, really good at, or maybe something that a guy isn't good at, but it's seeing those things that they are good at and then going, hey kid, if we focus on X, Y, and Z, we can start seeing some success in this sport. And so it's really, it's the kids trusting our guidance. It's the kids trusting kind of what we're, instructing them or seeing in them, and them not seeing it themselves at first. And then they go, okay, maybe if I do train that certain technique, and then they do, and they, it's the awesome moment when they do train that thing, and the result that we're seeking happens. And there's no glory in my sport. It's really, you get what you put in.
Okay.
So it's hard to explain, even as a wrestler myself. It's hard to explain. How do you get a kid? We were just talking about this. We just had a lock-in with the kids where we all locked into the wrestling room and we stayed the night at school.
Oh wow!
And it kind of just a team bonding, that 24 hours where we all just get to hang out as wrestlers and talk about the sport and watch wrestling together. And we were sitting and talking, and I was like, it's a tough position for me as a coach. How do I recruit? How do I get other kids in school to want to come out for wrestling? And even the wrestlers laughed. And I said, what am I supposed to do? Show up to lunch and say, hey, Jeremy, I think you'd be really good on my wrestling team. Do you want to come show up to practice and get your butt kicked for a couple of months? And you're probably going to hate it, and you're going to lose probably every match that you compete in. But if you stick with it and apply yourself, maybe some good things will come out of it. But it's tough.
It is a hard sell. That is a very hard sell.
I think in my position, it's really you teach the brotherhood.
Okay.
You teach the grind in the daily practices, the daily work that we do. I really I talk to them just on how much these disciplines and principles are going to apply to life. So it's really, I really focus more on, sure, do I want a real successful wrestling team? Of course I do. Yeah. But do I want really successful young men and women to lead my program and to go out into the community and be something and achieve their goals? That is what I want more. So I talk to the kids from that standpoint of, hey, I really think my program could just help you get through some tough times. Hey, I think it could help you maybe, when that test next week is a little hard, maybe it can help your mental game on maybe that
Sure.
test isn't going to be that hard, or those type of things are kind of how I sell it. Is I can help you get better in other aspects.
Yeah. I know a lot of coaches, a lot of sports talk about the culture of their sport, the culture of their program. But unless you've been to a wrestling meet, and not just a duel, but like an all-day wrestling tournament, I don't think people understand the culture that's associated with wrestling, because you see those kids who aren't wrestling and they're around the mat cheering on their teammate. They're there for their teammate. And I think about your lock-in that you just had and how something like that can impact the culture of wrestling. I think culture is so important in wrestling, and the buy-in to that culture is so important to wrestling.
Yeah, I think in wrestling you get humbled.
Yeah, oh yeah,
You get humbled quickly.
yeah,
And then some people, when they get humbled, it's very, you get exposed. Your weaknesses get exposed. Your strengths get exposed.
yeah,
And some people want to kind of quiver away from that, and they don't want to look at that. And I think what wrestling does is it kind of forces you to. It kind of forces you to go, hey, you're not good here, and you're okay here. How can we bridge this gap? How can we make all these things be okay? How can we make all these things better?
right,
And I think that's what the kids do. It's really, wrestling practices are tough and they're hard, but everybody is doing it. And everybody, you kind of have to pull everybody up to finish practice. It's really, it's individual, but everybody is going through it. So there's a bond that comes there with a hard practice. And in wrestling, unfortunately, a hard practice is every day.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's really, when you see a guy at a tournament and he's not competing and he's cheering on a teammate, what he's really doing is he's saying, I was at practice Monday through Friday with this guy too, and we worked really, really hard on a certain principle or a certain concept or a certain move set, and we worked it really, really hard. And that wrestler's better than me, and that's why he's wrestling now and I'm not. Let's see how he's going to apply how we trained this week
okay,
on the mat, is really what a wrestler who's not competing is doing. And then when the wrestler who's on the mat gets success, everybody is like, holy smokes, what we are doing in this room that nobody sees, we're doing some good things here.
it starts to click. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you ever, you mentioned that you're a Maumee guy. When you walk back into that room, last year as an assistant, this year especially as the head guy, as the guy in charge, is it ever a pinch me sort of moment? Like, how did I get here? Like, I can't believe I'm here. This is so cool that I'm back here and I get to impact other Maumee kids like I was impacted 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't. It's surreal, and it was surreal at the beginning of the season. And I think a little less now, but definitely at the beginning of the season, you walk into the room, and I mean, that's where I learned the sport. That's where I showed up as a kid who was inexperienced. I showed up as a kid who was not good at wrestling.
Right.
I showed up to learn. And I mean, there's even a certain part of the room where I'm like, man, I can vividly remember just not wanting to come back to this place because getting my butt kicked over here is not fun.
Yeah.
But and telling the kids that, and being vulnerable, and I have told the kids many times that, I came to this room and I didn't know anything, and sure, now I'm the head coach and my name's on the walls and all that jazz. Yeah, but it helps me really, sell the philosophy of, hey, through hard work, good can happen. Right. And that's the greatest thing about our sport is that, if you just work hard, you show up and work hard and really apply yourself and ask questions and are there to get better, you will.
Yeah.
and you will get better at that sport, and you will get better, just at other things. But is it ever going to pinch me a moment? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird often.
Sure.
I like, now that I think about it, it's weird often where I'm like, I was the guy that didn't know anything in this room, and now I'm the guy that tells everybody else what to do or how to do it. But that's fun. I like that.
What has surprised you this year? I mean, it could be performance of some wrestlers. It could be something that you didn't expect as a head coach. What has surprised you this year?
I would say a big thing that's really surprised me, and I thought this last year as an assistant. I see it more now as a head coach. Maumee, just in general, we have athletic kids.
Yeah,
we just do.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's in the water. I don't know, but we just have kids who they can excel at multiple sports. They're willing to learn. Because I can say in my first year as head coach, teaching certain very fundamental concepts, very fundamental technique that is tough for your first year wrestler to pick up. Not these kids.
Yeah.
Like that's where I was like, well, I've been around coaching for a while, and I've been instructing wrestling for a while.
Yeah.
And my group of guys, we can show technique and we can show certain concepts. By the time we're at the tail end of practice, these guys are hitting that technique or those moves efficiently.
Yeah.
To where it's been easy for me to build on, I can say. So I think the surprising thing there is when we put in new technique or when we put in different concepts where I'm like, even, in our coaches meetings, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want to show that, or, all right, yeah, let's just see how they respond to this. They respond well, and we're like, okay, maybe we can layer on to that. Or it's helped in forming and shaping audibles inside of the season on, okay, we have a core set of technique we want to show. Maybe we can show this piece of that technique a little bit sooner. It's the guys that are in my room. That surprised me. Yeah.
How much, so with that in mind, how important is it for you as the varsity coach to have a strong middle school program, and then before that even the biddy program? And how important is it then for you to be involved with them to make sure, because once these guys get to freshman year, if you can get them coming in at a higher level, it I'm assuming makes your job a little bit easier, and you can start building on things sooner, building on, more complex things a little bit sooner as well. So, having guys like Coach D'Amelio, Coach Buck down at the middle school level, that's got to be very valuable for you as a varsity coach.
It's definitely valuable. I think what even holds more value is a group of kids who have come up in the sport together.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at any time, we can look back into Maumee history, the 02 and the 04 guys, back, and then to my day, the 08, the 09 guys. If you can get a group of kids who have wrestled with each other through the biddy, through junior high, and then they come up as a group together into high school, that is when things, not only from a culture standpoint in your program, obviously, and then building and winning and all of that jazz. When you get a group of kids who have grown up in the sport together, it's kind of the glue to your program, and they will learn the new technique together. They will have the hard practices together. They are more willing to do the hard things. If you have a group, and I'm talking a group, 4, 5, 6 kids who have just gone through the trenches together, by the time they're in high school, that is how you build. We've seen it, a couple of times at Maumee. I think that's the value piece.
Okay.
So if that's the value piece, yes, then the junior high and the biddy program is extremely important. You really want those two programs to form that, to help create that, to where by the time they do get into 8th grade and go into their freshman year, there is 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who have gone through it together coming up into, and if you can do that as many years in a row, then you've got, a prospering program that pumps out a chunk of kids that stick together.
Right.
Right. And that, I think that's the value piece. So being involved in all of that and having the continuity throughout all three programs is important. But at the same time, having those programs have a little bit of their own uniqueness and how they approach the sport, I think is important too. But exposing those kids to how we do things at our level at each stage, and them seeing me and my coaching staff or having them up in our room a couple of times throughout the year, I think those are kind of your little glue points,
Right.
To make sure everything kind of flows the same.
Talk about this year, the team's performance. I know the last couple, so I think that you've won the last two duels in the NBC, your duels against NBC teams. The one before that, I think I saw Rossford, you guys lost by like 1 point, so you were right there with it. So that shows that there's definite signs, the chart is trending upward where it needs to be. Can you talk about the team's performance this year and maybe how that's happened? Maybe are you seeing, the line going up?
Yeah. This year's been tough.
Yeah.
And what I mean by tough is when you lose a chunk of seniors like we did last year, it's always, then not only losing a chunk of kids, and then I take over the program. So now we have a brand new, set of guys that we are working with, a couple who have been on the team for, a couple of years, but then a whole new coaching, perspective. It's just been tough because we're young, we're green. Yeah. So it's, again, going back to that, it's mat time. Mm-hmm. So we really approach the season with, and part of our philosophy is we really don't care about the wins or losses. We really wrestle for the last 4 weeks of the season that are coming up here. Okay. So I tell the kids, hey, even if you go 0-30, and as long as we are learning every single time that we go on the mat, that's what matters, because we're not wrestling for the season. We're wrestling for postseason. We're wrestling for the NBC tournament at the end of the year and your sectional district and state. So we're young. We are so young. I have one senior on my team.
Yeah.
So and guys who maybe are only 2 years into the sport. Yeah. So there's been just it's been a good reality check as a coach to go back to the basics, right? Which in wrestling, fundamentals are going to be taught even at the collegiate level, the Division I collegiate level. Basics are going to be harped on. So I have no problem with let's stay basic. We stuck to a core, 5 takedowns, really only 1 or 2 techniques on bottom, when we have 3 or 4 on top, and we have stuck to that. Yeah. And that is kind of our core. And these guys responded to that. These guys, I feel like if they could tell me, they would, but they like the fact that it is bare bones. Yeah. We are basic. And it's shown. I mean, I think there's 6 guys that are on my team this year who were on the team last year. Those guys, that group, that's 6, had a combined 58 takedowns the entire season last year. Year to date, right now, one of those guys alone has 58 takedowns.
Holy cow.
So, I mean, that goes to show just in that chunk of guys, that just sticking to the basics and, hitting it over and over and over and really just getting that mat time in. Getting the mat time in has helped them, do what we've done this year so far. We're growing and we're building. I love all the guys that I have in my room. It was a great group of guys to come in as my first year. I can say that.
Good. That's good. Yeah.
Yes. This season, sure. Are there matches that I would want to have gone a certain way, or do I think we could have beat the Rossfords and things like that? Yeah, sure. Again, that's not where my head is at right now as far as our program. Where my mind is right now is we got to create some wrestlers. Yeah. I want to create some wrestlers. That's what our program needs right now.
Well, and with the youth in your program, because like you mentioned, Zach Conrad's the only senior on your team, and you want to let him have success and have him see that success this year because this is his senior year. But with that said, you're almost building for the future too. I mean, you've got a lot of guys that will be back next year, and you've got to, you've got to kind of play the long game a little bit as well.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part and being new to being the head coach. And I think inside of the schools among the kids, I think wrestling got forgot about a little bit, and that's okay. And then I get to come in as an alumni, as somebody who, I was at the height of, when Maumee was great in the sport. So that's my mentality never changed. That's all I know. So then I get to come in and go, oh, you guys forgot about this cool stuff?
Yeah.
Let me show you all of these cool things that this program can do and has to offer. And I think simply just doing that, the kids have kind of gotten this new, ignition. They've just been like, oh yeah.
Sure.
Oh, that you were a part, show us that. Yeah. What was that like? And, and that's helping me for the long game. It really is. And it's already shown up on the mat, this year so far.
So we've got the NBC coming up here in a couple weeks. What, 2 weeks from? No, 2 weeks from yesterday, right? The 21st at Lake. What are hopes, expectations, thoughts heading into that? I mean, because the NBC is a really good wrestling conference. When you get kids from Genoa, Eastwood, Oak Harbor, Rossford, I mean, every school has good wrestlers. So what are your hopes and expectations heading into that meet?
The hopes and expectations are, I want my guys to have fun.
I like that.
I want to start there. It really, the expectation is we work really, really hard. My guys, they give it to me, and my staff and I, we push them extremely hard. And every day, it doesn't matter what tournament we go to. I tell the kids they need to trust in their training and their preparation and what we do in our room. And if they do that, they will have fun today, and the expectation that they have will happen. Yeah. So just trust in our training and trust how we do things. So I want them to have fun, but I think going into the tournament, I told them the other night when we were at our lock-in, I said it would be fantastic if it was Genoa against Maumee in the league finals every single match. Yeah. Now, is that going to happen? I don't think so. Right. Now, do I think that the weight classes that we represent a wrestler in, do I think that I could have a guy in the finals in each one of those weight classes? I do. I think my guys have the potential to do that.
Wow.
Now, do they rise to that? And do they trust in our preparation? That piece of the puzzle is on them. Sure. Do I think that we have that type of talent and caliber in our room? I do. But I could see us coming out of there with a couple of league champions and having some momentum going into the sectional tournament.
Okay.
So
that's exciting.
Yeah. And maybe that is head coach just having a lot of confidence in his guys. Maybe that's just, but that's what I see. I see a lot of guys who are there. I want them to believe that they're there.
If the head coach doesn't have confidence in his guys, then, I mean, you're kind of sunk. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Yeah. The group, I'm telling you, the group of guys I got right now, it was the group of guys I needed to kind of start my, head coaching career, and really, hone in and kind of fine tune my philosophy or at least how I communicate my philosophy. But these guys have picked it up and they have ran with it. So yeah, I'm the most confident head coach going into the league tournament.
I like it. That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Real quick here, I wanted to ask too. I know we have girls on the team this year as well. Can we talk a little bit about the growth of girls, because these aren't the first girls that have wrestled for Maumee. I know we've had some girls in the past recently, but can you talk about the growth of that and the benefit and value of girls wrestling in high school?
I'll be completely honest with you, Jeremy. It's everything.
Yeah,
it will save the sport in many schools where wrestling has maybe been forgotten about a little bit.
Okay,
It is awesome. I love that One Ohio now is, it's a sanctioned sport, OHSAA, all that jazz. It's fantastic. We were just at a girls tournament yesterday with our girls wrestler who got a varsity win yesterday.
Hey.
It's her third one of the year.
All right.
It is, yeah. So Maumee started they picked it up in 2023. We had a girl wrestler then. We didn't have any last season.
Okay.
We have one this season, and then we've got a whole rollout of what we're going to do to get some more girls onto our team come next season on things we're doing inside of the school and whatnot. I think it's the greatest thing that's happened to the sport. I really do. It is so fun to watch. It's so fun to participate in. And I'll be completely honest with you, coaching girl wrestlers over boy wrestlers is so much easier.
Yeah.
They are just so much more willing to learn, and they're responsive, and they are, at least my wrestler who I have, but I've noticed it at other programs. It's easier to get technique across and picked up and hit correctly, and the success comes quicker. And no, it's a great thing. I can't talk more highly about girls wrestling. I think it's the greatest thing ever.
I know at the middle school level at the NBC meet, there was a girl from Eastwood and a girl from Lake that both won individual titles in their weight class. So it does seem to be something not just at Maumee, but across the board that is growing and catching on.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw soon your own girls NBC tournament because going into the postseason, there is, they have their own sectional, district, and state tournament.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if, the girls NBC tournament or league tournament, just across all leagues. I would not be surprised if that started happening soon, and I think it should, so that those girls can, compete against each other and win league titles. But that's awesome to hear that at the junior high level, we got girls winning league titles against, boys and girls.
Yeah.
It
was very fun to watch. And they were dominant too. They kicked some butt. It was pretty fun to watch. All right, Pete. Well, that's all I've got. I really appreciate you taking some time with me today to answer these questions and to come on with me. So good luck the rest of the season. Congratulations on a great first season. And I'm really excited to see the growth of Maumee wrestling and kind of get back to where it should be.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me on. I love everything that you do. You even helped us out for our dual meet and create a new kind of environment for the dual meet and the guys. And I'm so appreciative of that. And yeah, all good things over here. Thank you so much.
Cool. All right. Pete, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks again to Pete for taking the time and coming on the podcast and speaking with me. This weekend, your wrestling team is at the Springfield tournament. Next weekend, they close out the NBC at the conference tournament at Lake. And then from there, it's on into the sectional, district, and state tournaments. Good luck to the Panthers. All right, that does it for this week's episode of Inside Maumee Athletics. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be back very soon. I promise it won't be another 6 or 7 months between episodes. We've got to talk to TJ Gillespie. We've got to talk to Brad Curon. We've got a whole big spring season to come up, and we've got to talk to Todd Erie. We've got to talk to Brian Jones. And we've got a lot more people and a lot more stories to tell. So once again, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you next time.